All right, so marketing for your business. This is important because yesterday we covered really getting your business up and running, the important parts of how to run a business, the things you need, time management, and that platform. Now it's time to start getting leads into our business. And what's the difference between a lead and a deal? A deal makes you money, right? A lead takes work. And that's why it's important that we understand that the more leads we have, the more deals we get. It's just the way it works. And that's why, who did I tell you your silent partner was? That's right. You should absolutely remember that because marketing is the key to this business. Let's see. I got to set my timer so I like to try to keep you guys punctual and me. All right. So that's what we're going to talk about. Knowing your competition is really important. How do you find your competition in your marketplace? Well, one of the things that we do is we start calling all of our competitors. How do we find those? Billboard signs, bandit signs, newspaper ads. Go to the We Buy House guys and the I Buy House guys in your market. You can find them online and put a deal in there. Just stick your property in there and tell them you're going to sell it at a discount. They'll call you because they'll want to buy it, right? Oh, you know what? I decided not to sell it. But I may sell it in a couple of months if I find the need to. Get to know who they are. Find out what programs they offer. We call it a swipe file. And the reason we call it a swipe file is, do you think that you're going to have some competition in your marketplace? Absolutely. Is competition bad? No, it's not. It's not. It is not. That's my Southern coming out in me there, isn't it? It is not bad to have competition. What is bad is when you look at them as competition. Listen, we're in business to make money. They're in business to make money. If you can create a working relationship with your competitors, you become a huge team in your marketplace. Every market I've ever worked in to doing wholesale deals, what's the first thing I did? I found my competitors and I got on the phone with them. And I said, you're going to find out real quick if they want to work with you or not. They'll have this scarcity mentality. You know what I mean? That, there's not enough out there for everyone. There's not enough out there for everybody to, get a piece of the pie. So, hey guys, can you help with some seating, please? And so you have to be in the mindset that this is an abundant life. It is very abundant. You will have more out of this life than you would ever want if you have that mentality. When you start having a scarcity mentality, guess what happens in your life? You start getting less and less and less, okay? This world and this life is abundant, and we have that same outlook when we go to our competitors, and we say to them, hey, John, my name's Zach. I own Landmark Property Investments. We're a national wholesaling company. We have a huge database of buyers, and we noticed that you were marketing in the same area that we're starting to market in. Now listen to this. The other markets that I've been marketing in, I usually take them over in a couple of months or two, and I'd like to work with you. Did you catch that? And the other markets that I've moved my business into, I usually take them over in a couple of months, and I'd like to work with you. Because I'm telling them, work with me or I'm going to get you. We can play or we can't, you know what I mean? And then they'll go, well, what other markets are you in? And I'll tell them, well, I'm in, 7 different markets. And right now, and I'll give you an example, in Huntsville, when we moved into Huntsville, there was 2 large guys on the market, and they had billboard signs everywhere, and one of them was running a TV commercial. And one was a real estate attorney and one was a mortgage broker that was doing this business. And the mortgage broker was like, yeah, let's team up, man. What do you think the real estate attorney had? Attitude. Had attitude. And I said, I completely understand your scarcity mindset. I said, most people have that mindset, and we're in this for the long-term run, and I'd love to team up with you and help you sell deals or allow you to sell some of my deals because I have about a $20,000 a month marketing budget I'm about to unload on Huntsville, Alabama. Would you like to work with me? And I'm telling him this because I'm trying to get him out of the mindset that I'm just some small fry. Now, let's reverse that. When I was first starting out in California as a small fry, and I went to one of the largest wholesalers in Solano County, which was called Lily Flag Investments, which was also a real estate broker, Rusty Simmons. I saw him everywhere at the parades. He would have people out there walking with houses on them that said, "We buy houses," I mean, this guy was everywhere. And I said, man, I got to know this guy, So I call him up. I find out that they're buying houses and they're doing all this stuff. And so I approached them with the mindset that I want to work for you, right? Hey, listen, I'm in this business. I have a marketing budget. I'm getting leads, but I need some help selling them. If I bring them to you guys and they're deals, would you mind looking at them and seeing if you have any interest in buyers and we could split the deal? Is that a pretty passive way of approaching that? Yeah. And then what happened was as I started working with them, I started building my own buyers list because the deals I was closing with them was allowing me to create capital to do more marketing, right? And then that marketing allowed me to build my buyers list. And then the roles reversed. And then I started going to them saying, hey, I've got more buyers. Do you have deals? Let me start selling your deals. And then all I did was sit in my office and build buyers lists, and they would just funnel deals into my office every single week. And then I started placing ads that said, more buyers than I know what to do, bring your deals. And then I started just creating this massive bird dogs in my community that literally I literally stopped marketing for leads. All I did was focus on building my 13,000 buyers list. And then I just had people bringing me deals. Do you think I mind splitting a deal 50-50 when it's on volume? No, think about Walmart, right? They sell low everything, but it's volume-wise. That's how I looked at it. I said, you know what? I don't want to be a one-man show because if I can connect with everybody in my community to bring me their deals and I'm doing business with everyone in my community, who's the expert now? I am. I started putting on little mini seminars in my office so that I would bring them in and teach them how to be bird dogs. And I would do it every 2 weeks. I would just bring them in and say, here's how you're going to go find properties on me. I created videos. I put them online on my YouTube channel. Has anybody watched my bird dog videos on YouTube? Anybody? One? Wow, you guys aren't searching me out, are you? I'm not that cool. Anyways, they're there if you want to watch them. You're more than welcome to go watch them. So, but I have a whole video series that we quit doing the trainings and we just started sending people to that channel and saying, watch these videos. This is what we want you to do. And literally, I just created a flock of bird dogs. So then when I got in the education side, what did I do? I brought it right into this platform as well. Okay? You're not my competition. We can work together. Take the same mentality in your local market, okay? Take the same mentality. So important to know. We want to know what they're doing for their marketing. I will literally track marketing from my competitors for months. Because let me ask you something. If they're running an ad that says, having a tough time selling, we can buy quickly, terms, cash, call today, and that ad is staying in there month and month and month, and they're paying for that ad, do you think that ad's working? Yeah, let them do the legwork. Then just run the exact same ad. And just maybe put a bold line around it, or put a catchy 1-800 number, or like I like buying. I own something like 200 and something domain names because I get like a wild hair. Sometimes I just start buying domain names, or I'll get Will. I'll be like, Will, buy all these domain names, because in marketing people react to different phrases, right? So like we may have fast offer now. Buy a house quickly, sell immediately, different taglines for domain names, because we'll change our marketing, and we change our marketing by the domain name first, okay? Because if they didn't like that domain, maybe they like a different domain, and as you change those domains, what will happen is you'll see your responses change as well. And so we'll use that in our marketing platform because it allows us to do what we call split testing. And if you're in the internet marketing space, that's what it's all about. Because internet marketing is just strictly all about marketing. So we take that same mindset into real estate investing and we split test. We split test, we split test, we split test. And we start with the domain name. Okay? If they're running TV commercials, I'm going to look at their TV commercial and I'm going to find out who's running that TV commercial, and I'm going to call up that TV producer and provider and I'm going to ask them what it costs to run a commercial that way. And here's the key. They'll give you a cost, and then you can go to what we call media brokers. And a media broker can sometimes negotiate a better TV ad for you and sometimes even cut the time in half. Because here's my theory. If they're running that same commercial over and over and over and over again, you think they're paying that money because it works? Absolutely. So you may not have that same budget, but yet you could probably get a smaller ad ran on a smaller cost basis and maybe run it once a month and still see if it's generating, especially for you being in the luxury home business, Steve. That's huge for you, because that's a different way of approaching that. So these are some things you want to look at. And how are they structuring their deals? This is really big because you're looking for a niche. If all your competition is only doing wholesale deals, and you come into town as a lease option provider, you're the only game in town at that level, right? And that's something that you have to think about, because and knowing your competition is by far one of the biggest things that you're going to want to do when you start creating a marketing plan, all right? What services do they offer sellers outside of just buying houses? Are they in the debt resolution business? How many of you met my good friend Scott over here? Yeah? If you haven't met him, I highly encourage you to meet him. We'll have him talk a little bit tomorrow. We do a lot of business with Scott because Scott helps our students in more ways than you even know on the real estate side. He helps them with different programs, and he's an absolute asset to have on your team, okay? So Scott, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
You see he's front row, right? So, and what's that? Does Scott have a last name? Yeah, Scott, tell him who you are. Scott Stroh. So you guys just, if you have some time, just grab him, talk to him, see how he can help you. Because here's the idea. When you go to your student base or you go to your future clients, I say student base, I'm sorry. When you go to your future clients, do you think they just need to sell a house? Probably not. They need to sell a house. They may need some debt resolution. They may need some credit repair. There's a lot of things they need, and you need to be able to step in and say, listen, I'm not just going to buy your house, but I'm going to help you get out of this in a better situation. When we were in the business of short sales, we always made anybody that came to us for short sales had to sign an agreement that they would at least go see 3 credit repair companies before we would take them on as a client. Why? Because we want them to know, don't just short sell your house, try to get some help so you can get out of this at a later date, okay? We wanted them to be in a better position than when we found them. The other thing we did is when we do lease options with people, we won't even let them in the house or even sign the contract unless they sign our addendum that says within 6 months, they have to start credit repair with us. Not with us, but with some service, so that we know that they're going to be in a position to buy that house at a later date. We're not in the model where people say, oh, stick them in, and when they don't pay, kick them out and bring another one in. Guys, I think karma is real. I don't want to meet her neither. So you got to be able to play this ball game right. I mean, are you guys getting that? Yeah, listen, you're going to touch a lot of people along the way. And it's not how you touch them, but it's how you leave them that matters, okay? So basic marketing foundation. Marketing foundation is this: picking your business name, tell them who you are, getting a great website name, picking the logo and scheme and promotional materials. It's important. Do you think that's a pretty memorable logo? Do you think I do a lot of branding? Yeah, every slide you see will have a brand on it, right? First thing you guys come in this morning, I'm branding. All of our stuff is branded. Branding, I'm telling you right now, branding is the absolute key to the success of your business. If you're just Zach Childress, real estate investor, be honest with you, who cares about Zach Childress, real estate investor? Who cares? Edgar, I know you care. But what people do care about is if you are an organization, if you're a company, and you have a professional appeal to yourself. That's what people do care about. That's what they remember. They remember their experience, right? And do you think people talk to other people? It takes more conversation to get a referral than it does to get a non-referral. Yeah. So, I mean, here's my theory. You have to go above and beyond than what they expect. You have to. You know what I mean? That's like when we do these. Do you think that we put a little bit of time and energy in putting this on? You think we just threw a bunch of people in a room and said, I'll go in here and teach a little bit and go home? Yeah? Who said yeah? Keno, let me get security. Security, can you move Keno? I think he's selling drugs over there. So, no, you have to give back, okay? These people are giving you a deal, okay? Whether how the structure came, they're still giving you an amazing deal, right? That you're going to have the potential to make a lot of money on. Don't be a hog, right? Leave them better than when you found them. So, and this is what I'm referring to about domain names. FastOfferNow.com. Does that tell you what I'm about to do? Absolutely it does. Buy a house quickly. Who thinks what that site's going to do? Show you how to buy a house quickly, right? You know, these are types of things you want. Like, Scott, you've got a really good one. What's yours?
Zero out my debt.
Isn't that pretty cool? Zero out my debt. What does that do? Zeroes out your debt, right? I mean, this is the power of domain names that most of us overlook. We pick crazy domain names that when you read it, you go, what do they do? Right? You want to communicate through that domain name, okay? Picking the logo and scheme, this one right here is by far the hardest. Me and my wife, when we first started 7 years ago, locked ourselves in a bedroom. And then we had a beautiful baby girl. It's amazing what that happens when you do that. I'm the doctor. It's okay. She's my wife. I can play doctor if I want. But logo and scheme. We locked ourselves in a room, and I said, we need to create a logo. We need to be branded. And she's like, well, what are we going to do? I said, I tell you what, I'll sit at my desk, you sit at yours, you come up with some ideas, I'll come up with some ideas. So we did that, and obviously I think mine is the greatest, and she thinks hers is the greatest, right? So we turn around, and we're like, I got it. And she's like, no, I got it. I'm like, so my wife, because we had already named the company Landmark Property Investments because we felt that made a statement, right? We're Landmark, which is, recognized all over the world. We're property investments, and our marketing company is called Landmark Property Solutions. So Landmark Property Investments is our main company, and our DBA is Landmark Property Solutions. And do you realize you can have as many DBAs as you want, right? And so when we do marketing to sellers, we market under Landmark Property Solutions. When we market to our investors, we market as Landmark Property Investments. You see why we do that? Because they both make different statements. And she turned around and she said, I'm picturing a pyramid. And I said, I'm picturing a big, tall building. She's like, a building? What's a building got to do with Landmark? I'm like, it's real estate. So obviously we had to go outside and find a third-party neutral person, like called mitigation, right? So we brought she was actually our neighbor. Fui Chen was her name, and this is what she did for a living in San Francisco. So she said, I can help. We gave her both of our ideas, and she came back with this logo, and I want you to look at this. Does it look like a pyramid? Yeah. Look right there in the middle. What do you got? A big building. How about that? That's what you call good mitigation. She get another marriage saved. That's right. She gave us exactly what we wanted. And so that is what we've stuck with from day one. And anywhere I go, when someone sees that, they know that's us. They know who's boss. So are you stretching? Okay.
Did you inspire Inception?
Did I inspire Inception? No. I know. You know that? I hated that movie. It left me hanging at the end. Was it a dream or not? Because it kept spinning. Right? You know what I'm talking about if you've seen the movie. Oh, you don't know what I'm talking about then. It just like dropped off on me. Has anybody seen it? Didn't it just leave you hanging? Oh, obviously there'll be a part two. Yeah. But they're just like spinning. And you know what? You've seen it twice? Okay. I'll watch it twice because it was good. I did like the movie, though. So, Inception. Okay, well, let's get back on real estate. All right. So, and promotional materials is a must. Create promotional materials. You know, just a plain sheet of paper that's a threefold. You know what I mean? You can do it in Publisher. It's going to talk about you buying houses, going to talk about you selling houses, and going to talk about you looking for private investors. So when we meet with a seller, we hand them that. Is that a little bit more professional than somebody knocking on their door telling them they're going to lose it if they don't sell it to them? You know what I'm talking about. There's people out there that do that. You're going to lose your house. If you don't sell it to me right now, you're going to lose it, and you're going to be broke. Rah, 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 rah. I want to find one of those guys or girls. I want to, because you know what? Those are the people that give the rest of us a bad name. Those are the reason most agents think negatively of investors, because the people out there taking deeds from people and stripping their equity and, you know, threatening them to lose their house. I mean, you know what I mean? Somebody will judge them one day. So, your business name. You need to be able to search easily, like Orlando House Buyer, San Diego House Buyer, Real Property Solutions, Home Property Solutions, American Home Provider. You know, think of names in a three-word phrase that tell them what you do, okay? And that's something that we look at, like Landmark Property Investments or Landmark Property Solutions. They understand Landmark's our main name, properties are what we deal with, and solutions is what we provide them. Now, some of you may have already picked a business name, and you're fine with it. It could be whatever you want it to be, but when you market, create a DBA.